I call to order the 100, this is the 189th meeting of the Equal Employment Practices Commission, September 18, 2014.
Oh my God.
Good? We're good? That's good? All right,
Yeah.
great. All right, can I get a motion to adopt the minutes of the
So
August
moved.
14th meeting?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? So moved. Sharice?
Okay, so, we're continuing with the audits of the discrimination complaint and investigation procedure of, the city agencies. Agencies that received corrective action were the Department of Finance and the Department of Emergency Management. We have final determinations for those agencies today that, you'll sign, but you guys, they vote on the final
Yes, they
determinations, right? Okay, so the two resolutions for final determinations are listed under, agencies that receive corrective
I
action.
move that we adopt resolution 2014/836, final determination for the Department of Finance, and resolution number 2014/017, final determination for the Office of Emergency Management.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? So moved.
Okay, and that should be, in terms of the sequence, the number of audits, that should be number 29 and 30 eventually. By the end of the audits that are in progress now, which I will read, we'll have about 39 audits completed, and that's probably by the end of the year. And the audits in progress are the Department of Probation, the Human Resources Administration, the Administration for Children's Services, the Manhattan Borough President's Office, the Small Business Services, City Clerk, Office of Collective Bargaining, Office of Consumer Affairs or Department of Consumer Affairs, and Department of Cultural Affairs. Now, let's talk a little bit about Teammate. That's the audit management program that we just purchased. We actually purchased it.
From Jewett, so with Jewett's help.
Right.
And so this is the thing that you have been trying to deal with for the last
Year and a half.
two
maybe?
years, maybe 2 years.
Yeah. So they gave us a tentative, I guess, implementation plan of about 32 business days. So while we're doing the audits, we'll also be trying to sort of work with implementing the software program. So it may impact what we do a little in terms of like taking time away and slowing stuff down. But I think we still should be able to get these agencies that I just read in by the end of the year.
Okay.
It's just gonna impact the way we function around here because there's gonna be training and, you know, they're gonna be sitting with us and we're gonna be sort of explaining procedures and they have to
That's
tweak
7 weeks,
the.
right? 32 business days is roughly
Well,
7 weeks.
but they may not be consecutive
Okay.
because there are some steps that Jewett has to handle and then I guess we have to approve and, you know, the three agencies have to work together.
So
Or the
for
two
all
agencies
intents and
and
purposes,
vendors.
it's now September. By the end of the year, it should be fully implemented.
It should be implemented by the end of the year.
Okay.
Well, I
And it
mean,
may delay the audits in some manner, but you still think you'll make them 39.
I'm confident that we're gonna make the 39, even with, but we're gonna be stretched, but I think we can get both things done.
Okay. And what do you think, you don't know, so what do you think, once you have Teammate, what will its impact be on your being able to do audits, either faster or more in depth? What do you contemplate it being, its impact being?
I think what I can say right now initially is that it will remove some of the, I guess, tedious, everyday sort of tedious steps.
Clerical?
Right, so that we can sort of, I guess, streamline, I don't wanna say minutia, but the minute details that are involved in the audit and sort of focus on the analysis piece.
Okay,
It's more focusing on the management of the audits and the management of our time and the managing of documents and storing information and, you know,
so it will faster store the data, so you can really look at it in depth, you'll have more time to analyze it. You hope.
right.
You hope.
I'm pretty confident that that's what it's gonna be doing.
Okay.
Yeah, what did you think it would do, Commissioner Reese?
No, I'm just trying to,
But
No,
what
I mean,
I
no,
wanna
I
make,
mean, that, no, it's, I think we've been discussing this,
Right.
this teammate for forever, so.
forever.
and what I
Yeah.
wanna make clear
We're
is that
excited.
the program is not gonna do the analysis.
No.
No.
We
you-
just want to sort of automate all of the other steps so that we can focus on the meat and potatoes, which is the analysis and actually determining what is the problem at the agency and what we should do about the problem. But in terms of collecting the information, gathering the data, managing, you know, how many audits we're doing, where is this audit in the audit
Right.
process, things like that, that manually we have to either do by spreadsheets or we have to do, there are a number of manual steps. Those will be automated and we can focus on the actual issues.
No, we talked about it ad nauseam.
Yeah, we have.
I understand that, but now she's seen it. So the question is whether or not, and now they've begun the implementation, whether it's everything that she.
Well, it hasn't begun yet. It begins October 6th.
Correct.
Right,
October
they just got
6th.
a
Right,
purchase, yeah.
right.
It's purchased, and the schedule is set, the work schedule has been set so that we will have someone in our office for several days to work with a few people, with Sharice and an analyst, to figure out exactly how to configure the program and to make it just really what it is that we really need. Because we've talked about it in general, and now it's gonna be personalized to the agency.
Right.
Did you say 7 days?
No, it'll be 5 days,
Oh.
and then, I mean, the configuration, yeah,
The part where they actually try to figure out what exactly do you do and how do we tweak this particular program to handle what you do. So they're gonna be sitting with auditors and, well, analysts and with me, because I'm telling them what my vision is for about a week. And then, I think Do It already built some sort of a platform. So Do It has steps in it because they manage our,
Data.
yeah,
environment.
environment.
Environment. Yeah.
But I'm excited about it, so I hope everything.
Terrific that you still had the money for it, that nobody took it away, that it didn't vanish out of your budget.
Well, to Sharice's credit on that one.
Absolutely, I said terrific.
Yeah.
Terrific, yeah, absolutely. So I'm thrilled as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been pretty much your project from the outset, so.
We're very.
I mean, I think, right, I mean,
yeah.
this is probably the most important part, you sitting down and and giving clear instructions on what you need, et cetera.
Mhm.
Taking a look at what they put together sort of in a, I think in a very basic form and revising it and refining it to make it exactly what you need to then move on to more substantive things. That's what I've always thought, so,
Yeah.
you know, I'm happy that it's finally, you know, that we've got at least an estimated timetable.
Right.
Could the
Yeah.
board recognize Teresa's value in this?
For sure.
Steadfastness, and one might almost say her stubbornness in seeing this through.
For
But in this
sure.
case, we believe stubborn is a good trait.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Compliance.
Compliance?
Plans, yeah.
Okay, so, we have several agencies that have implemented corrective actions and are being presented for compliance. I'll read the names to you and then you'll vote on the resolutions. The Brooklyn Community Board, number 13, the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, the Department of Youth and Community Development, the Office of the Mayor, and the Department of Buildings.
Alright, so
Right,
just on
I
the.
congratulate you on the office of mayor.
Wait, so, I'm sorry, so just on the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, I think I've gotta abstain. I can't, I don't remember whether we've got an existing relationship with them. And so I'd rather take the conservative approach, and if we got a quorum to,
You do?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let me vote on resolution 2014/43C-08, 2014/2261C-26, resolution 2014/002C-27, and resolution 2014/81OC-28.
All those in favor?
Aye,
All those opposed? So moved?
so moved. I did not do resolution
Okay, yeah, I know,
2014.
You missed one.
No, I didn't miss it, I did it
That's on
purposefully.
purpose, yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
did you? Oh.
Yes,
Yeah.
resolution 2014/816C-25, determination of compliance by the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene.
I guess you'll take my name off, is that, and then,
Yes, we
but they could vote, right?
Right,
Yeah,
Okay, so all
you
those,
guys can vote.
all those in
we
favor?
need it, it needs to be
Okay.
seconded.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
All those opposed? So,
abstention.
with the chair abstaining, so moved.
That's why I did that.
Thank you, yeah.
Yes.
Who's name?
Just take
Okay.
his off.
And then when you
The
come back,
signature.
we'll have our discussion about our favorite topic, the
Oh,
city
boy.
council.
These I can sign, right, Shrews?
Yes.
Okay.
So as I understand it, the compliance by the office of the mayor is the prior administration, although this administration finished the report. Because the audit was of the Blumberg administration.
The audit was, but the compliance was handled by this administration. They were very cooperative.
Good.
Okay.
So we can move on to, the discussion of the public hearing while we wait for you.
When I went back in, there were a couple of extra notes. I discovered Eleanor Holmes Norton was the first Commission of Human Rights that the city had appointed. So I can't answer whether she would come or not come. I did have a second thought, which is to go to Anthony Frau, who's the Dean of New York Law School, and ask whether they would do it as a joint discussion. And then the issue becomes, what if they give CLE, you might very well have a lot of the city lawyers attend. Whether that's helpful or not helpful, I can't answer, but I just, and since you're really talking about the city, I mean, I took it, my thought was, we talk about the civil rights law, and then you really talk about the implementation of the city law, which is the reason for going to Eleanor Holmes Norton to begin with.
Well, let me start off, and then I'll get feedback from the rest of the guys. I thank you, Elaine, for putting this together and thinking about it. I don't necessarily know that I have a strong feeling against the topic per se, but I don't know that our view of the agency is as legal as this celebration would be, or this seminar would be. If we put on the top New York City Commission on Human Rights a celebration of the Civil Rights Act, I think that would flow perfectly, because Eleanor Holmes was there before. The discussion of litigation, I think is important for law, etc., for lawyers. And you get a lot of lawyers in the room, certainly if you do CLE, but for me, this is not that type of entity, and so.
But that's what we are, we're auditing compliance with the law, and that's what we're looking at. We're auditing compliance with equal rights, we're auditing compliance with the statute, and it's because of the statute that we are there looking at whether or not there's been the right employment. We're even looking at it as doing promotion and dealing with equality. It's all based, whether fortunately or unfortunately, on the law. I threw the economic cost in there, because that's the piece, if you look at our annual report, that's the piece we talk about as to how we are saving money by following the rules that flow from the law and the regulations that flow from the law, and making sure that there is equal and fair employment. That's how you don't end up having the controller writing the checks that the controller's writing. That's how you end up not having someone overseeing the hiring at the fire department, or, anything.
Well, I don't,
I
you know-
concur with the chair on this. I mean, I think this is great that you did this, and I think the topic is lovely and apt. But I do have reservations about really focusing it to lawyers, and I think it should be broader to include the EEO officers, meaning making a legal session is not very interesting to everybody. And so I would just
Okay.
make it a broader
That's true.
event, right? And really, I feel like, since we haven't done this in a long time, a public hearing, I'd actually really like it to be more focused to the EEO officers and engage them, because they are the front
Yeah,
line, so
that's
to
true.
speak.
That's true.
I kind of agree. I was trying to figure out how, in terms of the panel discussions on promotion, that would actually be the part where the
Yeah,
EEO officers
Yeah.
and
That's true.
so if it were sort of legal, focused on the legal issue, I'm not sure how we would have these breakout panels. So that was my only concern in kind of having that actually relate to the topic that we're discussing. So I think that maybe we can work on it some more, and maybe eliminate some pieces of it and try to focus on other pieces.
Fine with me. What I was trying to do was to say that there is, because it is the historic event, which is 50 years ago, if you start out and I start with a historical background, what life was like then. The law changes it, and what's happening today doesn't necessarily have to be what I put in there, which is far more legal, but it is really, so what's the story today and what are we looking for tomorrow? That really, those are the three
Right.
elements, 1, 2, 3. You can redo them or remake them within
Yeah.
it, but that's really where my head was. Wanting to have someone like Eleanor Holmes Norton to talk is really a draw. How do you
Oh,
bring,
yeah.
how do you bring people in? And then how do you incite her or invite her and make it attractive for her to come and talk? So what are the two pieces in there? And I don't know her, so that's where I went to the next step, which is, I know that I believe she's still an adjunct in Georgetown. My assumption is that if a law school was inviting her to speak and to address the history part, she might very well want to come, and the law school would, would provide a site for us to hold it, so we didn't have to worry about convenience. Lord knows it's convenient, it's just right over there on Church Street, that's easy. So those were the elements, my thought, but I, again, no pride of ownership, offered to do it because, and offered to do some thinking about it, because you guys are overwhelmed.
I think
No,
that-
And we thank you
yeah,
very
yeah,
much.
yeah, no,
Yes.
absolutely, I think the topic is right
Right.
along the lines of where we wanna be. I just think that there was a legal slant that I think the commissioners, as I had understood it, wanted to avoid. And so when I saw this, I understood what you were saying, and I could appreciate it. I just felt as if, well, I think it has too much of a legal slant. And then for me personally, I've always had an issue with with trying to figure out what the real economic cost to the city is. Cause I don't know. And it says someone will have to research this, but I don't know that we could find out. What is that? What is the real number? I don't know if we can find out if there's a real number.
Well, there were numbers that we,
There are
Pretty much.
settlement numbers of cases, and I just, whether Scott Stringer's office would be helpful in getting them to, they've gotta have historic figures in by the kind of case it is, by just topic.
That's true.
But make the link for me, connect the dots for me, because I'm having a hard time getting those. Okay, so you've got a number, let's say it's $100 million
Well-
of settlements. or you've got $300 million worth of damages
We
in
can't-
trials.
We
What's the
can't
number?
say that we would have saved all of that 100 million. What we can say is the city was accused of not having fair employment practices in the fire department. We can say that the cost of defense, which is another number we're not even going to look at, but we can say this is the settlement number. If, in fact, they had listened to our original audit, that might not have occurred. That might not have occurred.
Well, what I
Can't say.
think we can do is
Yeah.
use the number and and this is another good way we can store information when we get the new program, but we can use the topic, the basis of the complaints and the number, the estimated number, because you never really know how much the number is when you look at litigation costs and all of those things, but the actual the payout number, and then we can look at what are we doing to impact that specific issue, and that's how we can learn from it, pretty much, in terms of our protocols. But in terms of drawing a direct line of correlation,
It
no,
doesn't.
I don't know if we can ever do
I
that.
don't think you can say, but you can say, the fact is, the city had X number of cases. The fact is, we do an audit to look at practices. If we have to have an assumption that if they followed our practices, that might not have occurred. And I'm really using might not have. You can't say wouldn't have, but you can say that what the city put in place by putting us in place was to make sure that we were following fair employment practices. There are allegations that we did not, that if they had been, if the audit had found them, that might not have happened. If they had followed fair practices, that might not have happened.
Well, I'm looking at going forward though, and I'm looking at the next time that we go to that agency, or,
Right,
you know, then our protocols may be different because we may know that this is that agency's
that was a
issue.
problem, that was a problem.
So that's how we can impact the number.
Right,
We've actually used this something with the fire
Right.
department in an annual report or
Yes,
something.
we
where
did.
We make a correlation here where it's like, had
That's a good
people
idea.
paid attention
Yeah, that's a
or
good
done
idea.
something about this, we might have not had the situation that we
we did do it,
Yeah.
we have said it,
Mhm.
we have publicly said it. And it is the might.
I think I
We
read
can-
it, I think I read it somewhere in one of
Yeah.
our annual
Yeah.
reports,
Yeah.
but that was a long time ago, right?
Yeah, but it's still a might,
It's,
it isn't,
yeah,
we
it's-
can't, but what is true is there has been a cumulative economic cost to the city for a violation of these, what would be fair employment practices. That's a fact. The issue is how do you find the real number, and I just think it's somewhere between the law department and the controller's office, there's a number.
Well, we do it all the time. We get the numbers from the comptroller's office and from the law department.
We
Yeah.
just end up with a-
Yeah.
So the number
Sure it happens.
exists, and this is just a matter of going back and adding it all up over a period of time, which I guess you can do with, once you have the data, just put it in and
Right.
you'll get the number. I think you're looking at millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And if then, whether you're a lawyer or not a lawyer, even if you're an EO officer, you suddenly have added value, because your job is to save the city
Save us
money.
money.
The other cost is the cost of time. If you're in litigation, your commissioner or the people are just, there's a whole lot of time and effort
Right.
to respond to a lawsuit.
Right.
And we're not even talking about that as an economic cost.
Well, we refer to it all the time.
Yes.
There's the actual number, the payout number, and then there's the ambiguous number that it costs in terms of time and hours.
Yeah, it's a
That
different-
we always refer to when we make these justifications to OMB or, you know.
Right, I mean, I think it has a role in the presentation. Exactly what the role is and who presents it, I can't answer. But I think to the extent that you're stressing the importance to the EO officer of their role within the city, they have an added value, because they're saving money.
Absolutely.
And that's really the reason for including it. I don't know that you necessarily have to have a direct correlation. I think to the extent that you have a hypothesis that says if practices have been followed, these lawsuits might not have happened.
I think I'd be more comfortable with that type of,
I think, what we've looked at other times is not so much if, then, but rather, this is what the EPC does, which addresses this. This is, the EPC recommends, say, structured interview training. Well, that will have an impact on promotions. So, actually, what we do is more, it's more factual and it's practical and looking at, okay, this is what we do, this is what the allegation was, well, these are our protocols or these are our standards and this is how, this is addressed. So, or this is how we guide agencies. So it's a little less, if, it's a little less
Cause and effect.
hypothetical and more practical, I think.
Sounds right.
yeah.
Same thing. I mean,
Sounds right.
Yeah, no,
And then might I also suggest if as a alternate or another suggestion would be Jenny Yang she's the head of the EEOC, at the federal level, and she's like the first Asian American chair. So I think she's from New York, but I'm not sure.
What's her name?
Jenny Yang. She came from Cornell and NYU Law School, so she might be a good alternate.
oh,
ANG?
YANG?
Y-A. I happen to know Eleanor Holmes, just in case.
Oh, you do?
Oh,
Oh,
she's
Angela.
married to.
Angie knows everybody.
I know, right?
But Angie, that was the point, I don't, but that's the link, it's gotta be a reason
Right.
why, anyway. So those were my thoughts, guys.
So good, it's a good foundation for us to build on. I really appreciate it. You wanna, we didn't finish.
And given, just to, as a postscript, given where you are with a teammate, this looks to me like something, we really need a date certain if we're gonna invite a speaker or try to figure out whether the speaker can come, but I think we're looking at the first quarter of next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
just,
good.
I just,
To give time.
Mhm.
okay, so, but I think we shouldn't lose sight of it and it should be something that, when you want a break from teammate and go back and look at this.
Well, by that time, we should have everything in place, so we'll have time to actually dedicate to this.
Okay. But in order to get a speaker, we need to
Mhm.
have.
But you let me know when we should start doing that,
Okay.
just in case.
Well, maybe just to find out whether she'd be interested.
Okay.
We could probably even do that and find out when she's available
Okay.
in the first quarter of next year
Mhm.
and build it around her. We'll do it that way. We're not gonna be prepared before January,
No.
February, March, something like that, but let's find out whether it's something that would be of interest to her.
Right, okay, great.
Because Congress will be in session and she's a congressperson without a vote.
right. In front of the Times the other day, for that
She was
purpose.
she was testifying once more, trying to get the vote, to get a vote for the District of Columbia. Okay,
All right, so what, we're back to
discussion, city council.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the city council is very optimistic and seems to be proactive. And they are working on implementing the corrective actions. So this is very good, and also just wanna report, going back to the office of the mayor, they also were,
Good.
did ultimately implement all of the corrective actions, so this is
Sounds
good
good.
news. So, the FISA, Financial Information Services Agency, as I mentioned at our last meeting, does require an extension, and there have been personnel changes at their office, so, anyway, so however, I have not
Yours.
received a request for extension,
Like
but
mine.
I've been informed that they do require an extension. I spoke with the general counsel yesterday, and so I expect to get that today.
Like a formal
A
request or
formal
something?
request for an extension.
But we don't need to vote on giving a
No.
formal.
No, you
Okay.
Okay. And Brooklyn Community Board, number 6, also is having some issues with implementing the corrective action, so I would be addressing that with the borough president's office as well as the community.
Okay.
Great. New business, is that right, new business?
No new business,
No new business?
unless there's something new.
I vote to adjourn. Second.
All those in favor? All those opposed?
Wow.
We're adjourned.